Alright, to find the start point for an orthographic drawing, what we need to do is understand and know what the distance is of a drawing space. Now, a drawing space is the distance from side of your border to side of your border. So from here to here, and from top of your border to top of your title block. That's your drawing space, okay? You're going to take your drawing space and you're going to measure it. So, for mine, which should probably be pretty uniform for you, when I measure up and down, I have 6 7/8 for my height. When I measure left to right, I have 10 inches for my width. That's my drawing space, from top to bottom. Now, if I want to draw an orthographic drawing, what we remember from doing orthographic drawing should be when you look at an orthographic drawing, the orthographic drawings, the bases line up on them usually, and the sides line up. So this base should actually came down to here. All right, and then the tops line up and the sides line up. When you look at an orthographic drawing, and this is the front, top, and right side, what's underneath the top is the width of the drawing, and what's underneath the front is the width of the drawing. To the left of the front is the height, to the left of the right side is the height. On the bottom of the right side is the depth, but on the side of the top view is the depth. So this is where you'll find those measurements. We did a uniform spacing between our drawings of 1 inch. Between the two drawings of 1 inch. So when we set our drawing up in our drawing space, we have to find this lower left-hand corner. But we have to compensate for the width, the 1 inch space, and the depth in order to get it centered. So let's go over the formula. The formula you're going to use is, you're going to take the drawing space, so we're going to start with width. All right, so start point, width, formula. So you're going to start with what I would call the drawing space width. Our drawing space width was 10 inches. You're going to subtract, so minus the width, the 1 inch, and the depth. So width plus depth plus 1 inch. If we have a width of 2, a depth of 1.5, and a height of 1 3/4, we would do width plus depth plus 1. So we'd have 2 plus 1.5 is 3.5 plus 1 is 4.5. Okay? 10 minus 4.5 equals 5.5. Now, what that equals, we're going to call x. We have to take x and divide x by 2. Because if we were to just draw this, and we were to measure from the left-hand side over 5.5, and then start our drawing and go 2, 1, 1.5, you would end at your other end. Because the space would be too big on the left-hand side. We'd have to divide that space in half, and you'll end up having an equal section here, equal section here. You have your front view, your 1 inch between, and your side view. So, let's figure it out right here. So what is 5½ divided by 2? When I do half of fractions, or half of numbers with fractions, this is what I do. I write them both next to each other. 5½ I split them. I know that half of 5 is 2½. Whenever I want to split a fraction in half, even though a half is easy to figure out, I leave the top number alone, and I double the bottom number. So 2 times 2 is 4. Then I want to add 2½ plus 1/4. I want to change the 2½ to 2 2/4. Add 2/4 plus 1/4, and the answer you get is 2 3/4 of an inch. That would be, your start point over would be 2 3/4 of an inch. So if you measured like this, you'd get 2 3/4, 2, 1, 1½. If you measure the distance from here to here, now this is the width, this is the 1 inch, this is the depth. If you measure this distance from here to here, you should get close to what the measurement should be. 2½. Now this looks right, the way it's set up. Let me just double check my measurements here. So we had 10, 3, 4½, 4½ minus 6, 5½. 5½, that's 1/4. 5, 2½. Should work out that way. All right, so you get 2 3/4 here. Next one. Up and down. I'll start this on a new piece of paper. Up and down. The height of the paper is 6 7/8. So, start, point, formula for height. Height. Okay, you got drawing space height minus height plus 1 plus depth. We said the depth was 1 1/2. So, drawing space height, we had 6 7/8 minus height plus the 1 inch plus depth equals x. So our height is 1 3/4 plus 1 plus 1½. If you do this math, you got 1 3/4 plus 1 is 2 3/4, plus 1½ is 3 3/4, plus 1/2 is 4 1/4. 6 7/8 minus 4 1/4. So you go 6 7/8 minus 4 1/4. You have to convert the quarters to eighths. Make this 2 eighths. So 6 minus 4 is 2. 7 minus 2 is 5. So you get 2 5/8. But that's going to be the distance if you went from the bottom of your drawing space. If you went up 2 5/8, your drawing would end right on the top of the title block. So we want to split 2 5/8 in half. So 2 5/8 is what the answer is here. 2 5/8 is x. We want to take x and divide it by 2. So right, x divided by 2. So we're going to do 2 5/8 divided by 2. What I like to do is I split them in half. We know that half of 2 is 1. We know that half of 5/8. Well, if you can't figure that out easily, leave the top number alone, 5, and double the bottom number, 16. 1 plus 5/16 is 1 5/16. So your start point up should be 1 5/16. And that is how you find the start point for a drawing. All right?